Do you feel unworthy of love? And do you attract unhealthy relationships when you do bring love into your life? Do you feel like you're not good enough to attract high vibrational love into your life? If you have answered yes to any of these questions, then in this video I will explain to you the reason that we feel this kind of unworthiness. I'm Angela Cleary and I'm a feminine empowerment coach, and I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse. So the reason we feel unworthy is because of our own trapped emotions, our own previous traumas. Traumas from childhood and traumas from any kind of relationships that we've had throughout our lives. This unworthiness stems from our unhealed inner child. We all have an inner child. No matter what kind of childhood you had, your inner child will have some kind of wounding of some kind. This will lead to feelings of unworthiness and feelings of not being good enough. We don't feel good enough because our inner child didn't receive the validation that they wanted or needed when they were young, didn't receive the affection that they craved. And even if you grew up in a loving household, and you did receive affection, there will be some triggers that you went through, some instances that you went through as a child that would have triggered wounding, would have triggered some kind of trauma. Because when we're children, we're very, very vulnerable and we're sponges and we take on everything. We look up to our role models, our caregivers. And sometimes the slightest little thing can wound us. So literally, if you started crying and your parents told you to shut up and children are seen and not heard, or, you went missing in the shop one day, even for a split second, this would have triggered a little bit of an abandonment and a fear inside you. So any kind of little incident as a child, even your parents just giving out to you for dropping a plate or something. I remember, even when I became a young adult, if I dropped a plate, I'd fucking freak out. I'd be like, oh my God, is it the end of the world? I'm going to be shot. This kind of mentality is oh my God, it's the worst thing in the world. Because as a child, we're very, very vulnerable and we don't know what's going on. When you're a child, you don't know why you're being given out to. You don't know that you've done anything wrong because you're just being a child. So drawing on the walls or scratching something and you give out to that child, the child is kind of going, why do you hate me? Why don't you love me? So all of these kind of things, whatever your childhood was. Now, obviously, if you've had traumatic childhoods like myself, there will be deeper wounds. But this all triggers an abandonment or a rejection wound within us. And this, if left unchecked, can make us feel very unworthy. It makes us feel unworthy of being loved. It makes us feel like that we weren't loved fully as a child. So therefore, why would we be loved fully as an adult? Now, obviously, this is unconscious because I didn't even realize this for 30 years of my life until I started my spiritual journey. My mother left when I was a toddler, and I spent my whole life saying, sure, I don't care. If you don't know what it's like to have something, how can you miss it? So I spent my life, my teenage years laughing about it, joking about it, just not giving a shit. I didn't miss anything because I didn't know what it was like to have a mother. But I attracted unhealthy relationships left, right, and center. I remember as a teenager as well, when I attracted my teenage relationships, the rejection I felt as a teenager when those relationships broke down, and they might have only lasted a couple of months, but I felt such severe rejection from these relationships that it obviously heightened my abandonment and my rejection wound. Now, obviously, at the time, I didn't know this. As a teenager, I self-harmed and everything, so I was a very, very, imbalanced teenager. I had a lot of mental health problems. I suffered from depression and anxiety. Now, until I was 30 years of age, I didn't realize any of this, and it was only after I saw a pattern in my relationships that I realized, okay, I had a relationship with a narcissist for over 8 years, which was completely toxic. I lost all sense of self. I had another relationship not long after that with a misogynist for 1.5 years. And after I thought I'd healed from the two of those relationships, I ended up starting to date again, and I attracted another narcissist. And then I realised all the bosses I'd attracted were narcissists as well. I was only after that, I was like, I had a wake-up call. I said to myself, this has to be something to do with me. What do I need to fix? Because, why am I attracting the same thing? And it turns out it was because I felt unworthy of love. I felt that I wasn't good enough. And when I started to discover inner child healing, I realised that for my whole life, my inner child had unconsciously blamed herself for my mother leaving. Unconsciously thought I wasn't lovable. I wasn't deserving of that unconditional love of my mother. It took me till March 2020 to get a flashback while I was doing my healing that my mother did love me. It took me till I was 32 years of age to remember that my mother did love me. And that's the thing with the unconscious wound of the inner child. We feel unworthy because we didn't receive that validation when we were kids. We feel like that we're not lovable. So therefore, the way I discovered it or realised what I was, I felt like I was a piece of shit. So I attracted shit. I felt I only deserved toxic love. So I attracted toxic love. And now obviously this was unconscious. None of this was on the surface. I didn't say, oh my God, look at that toxic narcissist, I'm going to bring him into my life. That wasn't obviously on the surface. But because of certain relationship dynamics that I'd experienced or witnessed as a child, I thought that the only kind of love was toxic and unhealthy love. This added to my feeling of unworthiness. And obviously then being with narcissistic partners would add to that unworthiness as well. But we have to realise that we are all worthy of love. We all deserve to be loved. We really do. And there's a lovely song that has a beautiful line. It's like, being human means you're worthy, or is it? Being human means you're worthy of love. And like, that's it. You just have to be you. And you're worthy of love. We're all worthy of that unconditional, healthy, loving relationship. But it all starts with you. I really have seen throughout my life anyway, that you need to love yourself before you can expect anyone else to love you. And like, I spent my whole life not even liking who I was, let alone loving who I was. And how am I supposed to expect another person to love me if I don't respect and love myself? How am I supposed to expect respect from another person when I don't respect myself? And that's what I attracted. I attracted disrespectful, unhealthy, toxic relationships because I did not respect and love myself. And the only way I came to love myself was by reparenting and loving my inner child, healing those core wounds. So ask yourself, why do you feel unworthy of love? Because you are worthy of love. You are deserving of that high vibrational love. You are deserving of your love, your own self-love. And that's the beauty of healing your own wounds, is discovering the love that you can have for yourself. And that's been the most amazing part of my healing journey, is loving and respecting and honouring myself and my worth, knowing that I am worthy, knowing that I'm good enough, but knowing that I'm good enough for myself. I spent an awful lot of time believing that I wasn't worthy of being chosen by somebody. I spent an awful lot of time thinking I wasn't good enough to be loved, that I wasn't good enough to have a high vibrational relationship. And I had this, because of my abandonment wound being triggered over and over again, my rejection wound as well, I believed that everyone left. And obviously because of this spiritual journey we're on, it can be very isolating. And you have to walk away from a lot of toxic energy, family, friends, bosses, and romantic relationships. But you walk away as you vibe higher. But your inner child is still going to be triggered. Your abandonment wound, your rejection wound is still going to be triggered, even if you are the one who leaves that situation. You're going to have this core wound of feeling everyone leaves. What's wrong with me? Why aren't I good enough to be chosen? What am I doing wrong to attract the wrong relationships? And why does everyone just end up leaving anyway. Anytime you open up to somebody, they just walk away. And that seems to be the pattern. But understand this, are you seeing that kind of pattern? Are you noticing that you're attracting these toxic relationships? Are you noticing that you open up to somebody and they leave? And then are you saying to yourself, what have I done wrong again? What did I do to scare them away? But this is the secret. Like, they're not your people. If they don't love you for who you are, that's their problem. That's their loss. But you need to come back and love yourself and heal your core wounds yourself. Like, I was watching a movie last night, and I know it's fictional, but these guys, and this woman in her, I'd say she was in her 50s, like, and she was still so triggered by her ex from when she was 18. And I'm like, oh my God, can you imagine getting to 50 years of age and like not having healed your wounds? Like, I'm so blessed to be in my 30s and, discovering this part of myself. But to get so far into your 50s, and not healing those core wounds, it broke my heart to see it. It really upset me. It triggered the fuck out of me, like. And I was like, don't let it get that far. Start doing your healing as early as you possibly can. Start to figure yourself out early on so that you can vibe higher. And the whole secret is to love yourself so unconditionally that you don't need to seek outside yourself for that love anyway. That, we should feel validated within ourselves, not needing to be loved by another person. We need to love ourselves. And that's the beauty of it. Being in a relationship or being single is whatever you want, that's brilliant, but enjoy it. Don't be like, when you're single and unhealed, all you think you want is to be in a relationship. This is desperation. This will attract unhealthy love because you haven't healed your core wounds. And, then you're in these relationships and they're toxic because you haven't healed your shit. And that goes for both sides. It's men and women. You have to face your demons. You have to do that inner work. If you want to feel that love within yourself, if you want to feel worthy of love, start with yourself. Look within you and ask yourself, why do I feel unworthy? Why am I not good enough? Because you are good enough. You are worthy. Every human being is worthy of love. But we need to feel that love within ourselves first. We need to bring that love within us first. Face the reasons why we feel unworthy. Start to reparent and love our inner child, so therefore we can actually love ourselves fully. And that will attract love in all areas of our life. And that, what I mean by that is, love is the secret to life. And when you're in love with yourself, you will attract love and abundance in every area of your life. And that comes to friendship, work, opportunities, everything, the beauty of the world, not just romantic relationships. We have to stop needing this romantic relationship. We need to get to a place within ourselves that we love ourselves so completely that we don't need external validation for love. And we need to vibe high enough that if love comes in, we want it to come in. It's not that we need it. We're okay. I've been single for 6 years now, I think, the longest I've ever been single. And I'm still working on myself every day. But I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And I don't need a relationship, but I'm starting to be healed enough that I actually want a relationship. I want that love in my life. So, if I let somebody in again, it'll be because I want it, not because I need it. We can't put out that energy of needing somebody else to make us feel happy, because we have to feel happy on our own first. And there's a Will Smith quote like, you can't expect another person to make you happy. You need to be happy on your own. They need to be happy on their own. And then you come together in mutual happiness. Expecting another person to make you happy is actually selfish when you can't do it yourself. And that's a fact. Like, we go in, we think that we're only going to be happy when we get the end result. We need to be happy now within ourselves. We need to be comfortable on our own. And that's the thing. The whole point of being single is to get good at being alone. It's, because it's beautiful. We need to cherish it. Because we've been told by society, you have to be married before you're 30, you have to do this, you have to have kids at this age, you have to build a house beside your mother. Sorry, this way Ireland is. It's like, marry the farmer down the road, you have to do this job, you have to live beside your mother. No, live your life and get the fuck out. Do what you want to do, pursue the dreams you want to do, the love you want. But society makes us feel like we're doing something wrong if we're single. I've chosen to be single for this length of time because I've chosen to heal my wounds. Because I saw the pattern. I went from an 8-year toxic relationship straight into a toxic relationship of 1.5 years. I gave myself a break from that. And then thinking a year or two later, or 1.5 years later, I was like, I'm ready to bring someone into my life again. And back in 2019, I attracted another narcissist. And then I started to see the pattern with the bosses as well. And, friendships as well even started to be narcissistic. I was like, whoa, there has to be something going on here if I'm attracting narcissist after narcissist. It's not because every person on this planet is a narcissist. It's because I wasn't healed, and I was attracting these unhealthy relationships into my life because of my core wounds, because of my fear of rejection, because of my abandonment wound. And I was so desperate to be loved by someone else that I chose to settle for everything and anything that came into my life. But now I'm healing my wounds. I know that I'm deserving of a high vibrational love, and I will wait for that. I will wait, because I will not settle for anything less, and I will not let mediocre or narcissistic toxicity into my life again. Do you know, I can see a narc now before they, I can fucking see them miles away. Jesus, a narcissist just has to open his mouth, and I'm like, I know you're a narc, get out of me. Get out of my life, do you know what I mean? That's the way it is now. You need to be able to heal yourself so fully that you don't attract those toxic relationships again. Love yourself so fully that you will not feel unworthy of love again. And that's the thing. You will be chosen by the right person, but only when you choose yourself first. You can't expect another person to choose you if you don't choose you. And that was the biggest one for me, and I'm still healing that one. Because of all the stuff I've been through in the last few years, because of my spiritual journey, I've had to walk away from so many relationships, so many friendships, so many family members. And this triggered my abandonment wound. This triggered my rejection wound. And I was like, no one loves me. I don't deserve love. I'm not worthy. I will never be chosen. And everyone just leaves. This is what I kept telling myself. But no, I have to start to choose myself. If I keep saying that, that's exactly what's going to happen. I've chosen to heal. I've chosen to up-level, and I've chosen to walk away from these toxic relationships and friendships and family members because they were not in alignment with who I am. And the more I heal my core wounds, the more I will attract in high vibrational love in all areas of my life, not just romantic. And when I'm ready to choose myself, and I do choose myself, that's when somebody will choose me. But I have to get to the place where I don't need to be chosen by anyone except myself. And this is what you need to do as well. Heal yourself so completely that you don't need anyone else for that validation, that you get it within yourself. Love yourself so fully. And that's the thing, as I said, I spent most of my life not even liking myself. I couldn't even look at the mirror at some stages of my life, because I felt so ugly, I felt so unworthy, I felt so unlovable. I could not even look in that mirror. It upset me too much. And I remember back in 2018, the very start of my spiritual journey, my friend telling me to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you love yourself, tell yourself that you're brilliant. And I just cried, and I said, I can't do that because that would be a lie. And that's how I felt. Now I will look in that mirror and I know I'm worthy. I do love myself, and I appreciate myself and respect myself more than I ever have, because I've healed those wounds. So go within yourself and ask yourself, what do you need to heal? Give yourself that time to be single. Give yourself that time to heal those wounds. And please do it before it gets too late. Don't let your life run away from you, and don't let your life be loveless. And I don't mean it just when it comes to relationships. Love yourself. Heal those wounds so you can love yourself. Feel worthy of your own love. And because that's the most important love you will ever have, is the love you have for yourself. And the rest of your life will actually fall into place so effortlessly if you love yourself first. Heal your core wounds, heal your inner child, heal yourself, and love yourself first. Choose yourself, because that's when the world and everyone around you will choose you as well. The right people will vibrate towards you. The right love will come into your life once you love yourself first. Start to feel worthy within yourself first. That's where it starts. Heal you, heal your wounds, heal your inner child, and love you. Choose you. Because I promise this is the first step, but the most beautiful step you will ever take in attracting that high vibration love into your life and feeling worthy again of that high vibration of love. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you would like help in your journey, please book me for a discovery call today, and I would love nothing more than to help you on your path. Thanks. Bye-bye.